The Delta variant is setting new records and pushing some countries in Asia to breaking point. Here's what's coming up.
As long as the virus continues to spread, you give it ample opportunity to mutate.
Testing millions, enacting new lockdowns and approving vaccines. What nations are doing to try to stop the spread. Plus,
a new sign saying forbidden border and entry.
a CNN exclusive new video appears to show a prison camp in Belarus. The question is it made to hold government critics? And later, people demanding justice in India after the rape and murder of a child. What can be done to prevent this from happening again? Hello, I'm Lynda Kinkade, live at the CNN headquarters in Atlanta, and this is One World. It took more than a year for the world to reach 100 million cases of Covid-19. Now it's taken only 6 months to double that figure. Infections are accelerating, now passing 200 million cases. The new data from Johns Hopkins University is another sign the Delta variant is turning the world upside down. Some countries in Asia are fighting their worst outbreaks yet. Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, just to name a few. And part of the reason? Low vaccination rates. Well, meantime, the gap between rich and poor nations is getting wider. Even countries that have had more than enough doses, like the US, cases are reaching levels not seen in months. US infectious disease expert Dr. Anthony Fauci had this warning.
As long as the virus continues to spread, you give it ample opportunity to mutate. And when you give it ample opportunity to mutate, you may sooner or later get another variant. And it is possible that that variant might be in some respects worse than the already very difficult variant we're dealing with now.
Well, China is also dealing with its worst outbreak in months, including in Wuhan, where the pandemic began. Our David Culver is standing by in Beijing and joins us now live. David, China's government was very quick to move to lockdowns and restrictions to stamp out any cases, but now they're dealing with a much bigger spread of the virus, and clearly it's evidence that no country can let its guard down.
It's definitely proof of that, Lynda. And you're right. This is a country in which life had returned to near normal. You felt as though you were in the midst of pre-COVID conditions, albeit within a bubble of sorts. The border has been tightly controlled. Those restrictions are still in place. What has changed things now is this Delta variant, and it's come in, according to officials, on a flight dating back to July 10th and arrived in Nanjing. And to your point, Lynda, it has spread rapidly. It's gone well out of that city in eastern China. It's gone into central China. It's arrived here in Beijing. Shanghai has cases. And so we are starting to see what we haven't seen in many months, if not more than a year. And that is those lockdowns returning, extreme lockdowns at that. In central China, we're starting to see places where they have tens of thousands of people in communities now sealed off, kept in their homes, and they have to have volunteers bringing them all the necessities and basic needs so that they can continue on for what may be several more weeks. In fact, we've heard from health officials as to how long they think this current outbreak is going to take to get under control, and they suggest 2 to 3 incubation periods, and that could be up to 6 weeks. Now, when you look at the numbers and compare them to the rest of the world, we're talking several hundred cases going back to July 20th. That may not seem like a lot, but here, given this zero tolerance approach to any new cases, it is something that is very worrisome. And then you put it in context with what they're preparing for, particularly here in Beijing. We are less than 6 months away from the 2022 Winter Olympics. And Beijing, if you go back even to last year, was described as this fortress. They were determined to keep the virus out as best they could. We've seen restrictions now coming back in place, even domestically here in China, as far as what they want to allow in and who they want to allow in to the capital city, Lynda. They have put these restrictions in, suggesting anyone coming from medium or high-risk areas must go now into either centralized quarantine or home quarantine. Again, these are measures we have not seen for several months now. And so it is shocking for a lot of folks, and it's a reminder of just how quickly this can surge.
How quickly it can surge, how quickly conditions can change. David Culver for us in Beijing. Thanks so much. Well, Germany, France, Israel and the UK are proceeding with plans to provide booster shots of the COVID vaccine in the weeks ahead. That's despite opposition from the head of the World Health Organization, who's speaking out against giving booster shots while many people can't access their first dose. Take a listen.
We should not accept countries that have already used most of the global supply of vaccines, using even more of it, while the world's most vulnerable people remain unprotected.
Well, Germany now says it would donate at least 30 million doses to poorer countries, but for the head of the WHO, that's not enough. Well, Africa currently has the slowest vaccine rollout in the world, and because of that, a record number of people are losing their lives to COVID-19. The World Health Organization shared some devastating new numbers. The continent's new peak for COVID-19 deaths was hit just last week, with more than 6,400 deaths recorded. South Africa and Tunisia are reporting more than half of those, but the rate of deaths is increasing in 15 countries across the continent. CNN's Larry Madowo joins us now from Narobi with more on all of this. And Larry, access to vaccines, of course, is a massive issue there. But as vaccines start to arrive, a hesitancy will also need to be addressed. Here in the US, where vaccines are readily available, we are now hearing from people in hospital with COVID-19 talking about regret for not taking a vaccine. Let's just take a listen to it.
You're going to go at it and not get a vaccination, make sure you got a good doctor and your affairs in order.
Larry, for people across Africa, certainly two major issues: trying to get enough vaccines in and encourage people to take them when they arrive.
That's right, Lynda. The difference between people in the West willingly choosing not to take vaccines for whatever reason, and those in Africa, is that most people in Africa just do not have access to vaccines. Only 1.7% of Africans are right now vaccinated. That's according to the World Health Organization. The latest data, this sobering statistics, is that Africa has just had its worst, deadliest week since the beginning of the pandemic. And that might be hard for people in other parts of the world to wrap their heads around, because people in rich and high-income countries are emerging from a post-pandemic life. But for Africa, the 7 days leading to August 1 saw the highest number of deaths ever. Not this year, not in the last quarter, ever since the pandemic. And that's speaking to the inequity here. This is why the World Health Organization is trying to convince wealthier countries to go easy on booster shots and make sure that every country in the world has at least vaccinated 10% of the population. And Africa, most African countries will miss that target. Most countries here in the global south will miss that target. Africa, for instance, even though there are more vaccines now coming available, the US, the UK, many of the G20 countries have made donations to Africa, the continent still needs about 183 million extra vaccines if it will vaccinate 10% of the population by the end of September. So still, the way the World Health Organization described it is that all the vaccines, if they come here and they get in people's arms, they're still a small drop in a very large ocean.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right, Larry Madowo, good to have you on the story for us from Nairobi. Thanks so much. Well, for the second straight day, Tokyo has confirmed a record number of new COVID cases. On Thursday, infections topped 5,000 for the first time, pushing the nationwide total since the pandemic began closer to 1 million. More than 350 cases have now been linked to the Olympics.